Isa. Anything that wants to be spoken over?
No, it just feels yeah, hard to put in words, but like switching from personal to like this persona, then to the not personal, and yeah. Thank you. Anything for you?
No, I mean it's exquisite just to see how from one, like how life looks and feels from one perspective, and then from another perspective. It's just like, wow, one is, that's why they say samsara and nirvana are just together, in a way, it's like, you look from one perspective, there's just love, there's just beauty. You look from another perspective, there's upset, fear, anger, everything.
Yeah. I'm really happy to know the other,
Yeah.
to feel that, because yeah, if you're from that one perspective, everything feels so intense and serious, and wow, yeah. Thank you.
Oh, Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer.
Hello, Isaac. Can you speak for a second so I can see you?
Sure, with pleasure. To that, what's this?
There's so much sweetness and there's still holding on.
You know, it's like this balance between being aware of what's going on to some extent behind the scenes of the world, machinations of power and all that stuff, and still to recognize that actually the way we can contribute is by being true to love, if I could say it like that. Yeah. It's like, you know, it's such a razor's edge.
Yeah. But there also feels like there's something being held back in the system. I don't know where it stems from. It feels like an old trauma. Where it just doesn't feel fully safe to be with it, because every time I feel into it, like a sadness comes up and then it doesn't want to feel it.
Let's hold hands and rest with what, because ultimately it can only be a sensation, can't be more. You know, for sure there'll be thoughts and then emotions related to the movements around sensation. So once we realize that all that we ever kind of exploring is like some sensation where the system wants to automatically, unconsciously wants to get away from it. So it's not like there's a you that's holding back or anything like that. At its most simplest, it's a sensation, usually interpreted through our conditioning and trauma, and then the movements that happen around all of that. But let's just see, at a sensational level, right here, right now, what do you pick up on? And see if you can describe.
On a sensational level?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it feels more gentle than it has.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know what the sensations are, but it's just
So
when
take it a moment. It's tricky. It's you know, we've become quite adept, all of us, at the interpretation. So, you know, there's something holding back is an interpretation. So just really taking your time, taking as much time. It's like this. Yeah, and this moment is sensations. Usually there's immediately, you know, like interpretation of what the sensations are based on conditioning and trauma. But let's see if we can just, if it's possible, it may not be, like just here now, there's some basic sensations, temperature, pressure of your body, you know, on the, in gravity, so to speak, wherever your body is making. But then there's like let's say fullness, hollowness, tingling. You know, what are the sensations? I mean, really very simple.
Yeah, I would say it feels tingling and almost a slight burning.
Burning, okay, cool. And just, you know, if I can, just how would you describe the sensations in the heart area? Are they full? Are they empty? Are they?
Oh, listen, that feels really full.
Full? Okay. Just go through all the nuances there, because there's, you know, there's like subtleties.
And then I start to feel the sadness.
Yes, good. Okay, cool. So, and so now sadness is already an interpretation. What's the sensation underneath the sadness?
The sensation feels like a panic. I don't know.
Okay, so the panic again is a response.
Mm.
We're just on the track now. So it's beautiful. Nothing wrong, right or wrong with it. So there's just what is the actual sensation? It's a tricky one to describe too, if I, you know, like because I'm tracking with you and I'm looking how I could put words to the sensation.
What do you feel? I mean, what is the if you could put words to it?
It's like an interesting combination, like of almost like a hollowness, but in the wiggle around the hollowness, there's depression, kind of not knowing how to be with that sensation. It's like wanting to find, because it's not completely at ease, I could say it like that.
Mm.
So the actual sensation is tricky to describe for me. It's just like something doesn't feel quite okay. But what's the sensation of something doesn't feel quite okay?
Yeah, I don't know how to describe that exactly as you're saying. It doesn't feel okay, and it's quivering to be met with. I mean, I'll just describe it as quivering.
Yeah. Cool. So just let's rest with that. Let's see what it wants to show us. We just hang with it. It's not personal. It's feels like something's wrong. It's interested in this exploration. It's present to it. Just resting here with it.
Yeah, it feels like it's longing to have someone just hold it.
It's a sensation. And then there's the little movements around that sensation that are looking to somehow bring it into a context or integrate or something. It's just the sensation pure. It's almost like a cold heat. Cold heat, something like that. It's interesting sensation. And maybe it never resolves, Jennifer, who knows?
Never, it's what?
Maybe it never resolves.
Mm.
You know, it's just like all we know is that something's showing up that there's movements to get away from. And then we can put it on what's going on, something, maybe it's something else, there's something. We don't know. All we know is that there's a sensation. Hard to describe.
Yeah, for a microsecond, and something just opened up into it.
Yeah. We keep exploring, just yeah.
Now it felt like a little bit of nausea.
Mhm. So at a sensational level, it's interesting when we just at the sensational level, it without all the thoughts around it, it's not such a big deal. I mean, it's the sensations, sure, okay, but they're subtle, or at least the way it feels in me. I'm not sure how it feels in you. The movements around it, that builds momentum, and then it gets into. We just resting. Just what is it? Just curious, just present.
When you say what is it, does it have to be named or?
No, just curious. I mean, that what is there's just like a curiosity, I could say like that. It's not trying to resolve it. It's not looking for anything. It's just, wow, this is rising here. And it's asking for presence. It's not personal. It's not. We have no idea. But to me, when I resting and exploring this, I could see how the movement to get away from this would show up as almost every human drama. Everything that we're seeing happening on a global level would be some related to some movement related to this sensation. And you can see intellect is useless here, mind is useless here. I mean, at least to me, that's the way it appears. I don't know how it seems to you when we just resting.
I don't think it can be solved. If you can use the word solved, I don't think it could be met at the level of the mind.
It's impossible, yeah.
Something feels like it's letting us in to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can sense that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful, for me, I find it an exquisite exploration. like one in the recognition that it's, no interpretation of this is going to assist. It's just like this, in a way, this, I'm here and I'm not moving. Whatever the sensation is, it can be. I'm not moving.
That feels very empowering, because it felt like it was kind of overwhelmed.
Mm.
And in the depth of this presence, it feels welcomed.
Like in the recognition that this sensation, there's probably billions of people that feel this sensation. They have no capacity of being present. So just being present and including where the sensation plays in humanity.
Yeah, it actually feels really, really big.
Mm. Just that sense of I'm not moving, whatever this is, I'm here.
I don't know why, but sadness is coming up.
It's okay. I'm just very gently seeing if the sadness is related to wanting something to be different. Okay, it's a movement. Sadness is a movement, no doubt. I mean, there's a lot of, for me, I would say, different movements tied to that sensation. Sadness, loneliness, not knowing. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's a core. It's a very core, in my view anyway, it's like a very core sensation that almost always gets interpreted and almost always tries to get solved. You know, so it gets interpreted as not feeling loved, not feeling able to fully love. I mean, there's just so many interpretations of it. See if it's possible now to find words to describe the sensation. Maybe you can find some way to just describe the sensation.
I'm going to describe it as dull.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
Almost like I wouldn't say numb, but it's like a, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna say like it feels like a dull sensation.
Yeah.
Do you sense that?
Yeah. I mean, and I'm also looking for words to describe it. It's like an emptiness that's cold and burning. I mean, it's really weird to try and describe it.
Mhm. That
Yeah.
comes very close.
Mhm. Yeah.
Very good. I like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And from at this moment, it doesn't feel like it's been taken very personally, which is beautiful. It's just like something that's just appearing in consciousness.
Sorry, say that one again. You kind of cut out.
It's something appearing in consciousness. You know, on one level, I could say at the human level, the majority of people don't have what they want or anywhere close to what they want.
Mm.
And the people that have power, fame, money, or whatever, I'm not sure that they have what they want. So, you know, it's like, okay, there's something core going on. If there's, you know, like,
So would you say it's like a,
it tries to fill itself with all kinds of things. Yeah.
so would you say it's like a wound that's longing, like a core wound that's just longing to come back to to be
I
here
don't know
with.
if I would even call it a wound, you know, it's like I'd say the wound would be in the direction that there's something wrong with it.
Mm.
I don't know if there's anything wrong with it.
Actually, Isaac, it feels like something that's just been longing to receive that knowing that it isn't wrong.
Yeah. But that's, I mean, that's interesting when we take it out of that context. It does, maybe it's divine hollowness. Who knows what it's, and I don't know what its function is even, but it's like, okay, whatever it is, it's on the screen. And we can watch all the movements around it, all the movements that want to heal it, that want to change it, that want to fix it, that take it personally, want to find solace.
Just feels like it's been welcomed here. Not to be different.
Like I said, I don't know if there's any resolve ever for this. All I know that, you know, we've in this exploration seems to have gone out of the personal, out of taking it personal, out of the movements to get rid of it or change it or fix it, of considering that there's anything wrong with it, like it's a wound, like it's me, it feels like the capacity to be present with it is deepened.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for bringing this, Jennifer.
Thank you.
I'm curious, just go to gallery view for a second and ask Sangha how this was for people. How was it to explore this for you guys? To me, it seems also useful to start to make the distinctions between sensation and emotion and an interpretation. Just making all those distinctions, yeah, because if it moves into interpretation, then it's easy to get lost in it. I mean, really overwhelmed and deep sense that there's something wrong with myself, something. Is there any residue in anybody from this exploration? If there is, just yeah, Trent.
Hey,
Hey,
I
good evening, good
just
morning.
good evening. Yes, it just felt like appreciating this. It feels like all the minds in Europe, but evening, the minds, they have done their job. They're getting slower, and it feels like there's kind of a peace, or it's just a special atmosphere. And yeah, it's kind of cozy. I like it. Yeah. And it's so fine to just hang out without any anything happening. It's nourishing. It's just to be with you is kind of feeling an okay to just be. No agenda. So, yeah, thanks.
That's right. Pictures are taking a while to come back, so if anyone's raising their hand, I can't see it. A few of the pictures have come back. I see feet. Okay.
Morning, Isaac.
Morning, feet.
Before we had this, to my interpretation, deep exploration, like a basic exploration. And you said, I don't know whether this basic sensation of something is not okay on an existential level, or in that direction, whether this can be solved or solved at all in the organisms, in the nervous systems. So this is more a question. It looks a bit like mental question. you think this is part of the human condition or human or so-called human biology basis? Or
Well, I mean, it's interesting to see that somehow how life is happening is this capacity to feel separate. Even though we can know there is no separation. Yet there's a habit of attention that definitely produces that sense of being separate, yeah? And then all the movements to want to not feel separate,
yeah.
or to compensate for that. So this capacity to feel separate, I mean, where does it come from? Who's, how does it? It's here, you could just say. We see that the majority of humans look through that filter.
Yeah.
And then the way that that expresses itself, like not being in tune with life, being in tune with just, yeah. And then we can, we can give it all kinds of interpretations.
And all kinds of food. Looking
And
for
all kinds of-
relationship, looking for
Yeah.
money, looking for work, looking
Yeah.
for
Exactly, all of it. Looking for control, looking for some way out.
yeah.
And I'm curious, what happens if somehow we really exhaust any momentum to the idea that there's something wrong with the sensation. If, because all of those will show up in a way that feeds the illusion of separation, so to speak.
That was a question?
No,
No, okay. Mind is a bit slow.
no, it's okay. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so to me, I'm just looking at any movement to try and transcend the sensation, to try and suppress it, to try and solve it, all of those movements would show up in some way as identification. 1 second. Come on in. Hi, Tarun, listen. Yeah, and if mowing, if you could. Fantastic. Thanks, Tarun. Morning, Mike. I'm in my Zoom. No worries.
Sorry.
Ah, okay.
Sorry.
No worries. Perfect. Anything else you want to speak?
Thank you so much again. Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you, Keith. So,
I'm quite happy we have this exploration. Happy, but it touches something and it feels like in the guts and the visceral in the and it's like a it's not like opening, it's more like a constriction.
and it's curious because in some ways that contraction is appearing in vastness. With that
Yes.
sensation. Yeah. It's like the focus is, it's not narrow and activated, I would say. It's just like, oh, wow, here we are. There's been a lifetime of looking for pleasant sensations, and this sensation you couldn't call pleasant. And it can just be here. funny enough for me, there can be pleasurable sensations at the same time as the sensation, but it's like there's a whole tapestry, a smorgasbord of sensations. And it's like
I said to a friend, I feel emotional vulnerable these days, but it's not was not the right description. I feel now it's more to the point where we are going now.
yeah, and that vulnerability is, I mean, it's to me, it's beautiful because it's really like total vulnerability. You know, it's like, yes.
It brings also that I draw back from the world, so to say. And dive more into the inner world, so to say.
Yeah. It's interesting because if we really look, there is no inner and outer, isn't it?
Yeah, but it looks like, you know, too much input from other people. It's like, whoa. uh, I
Understand, and yet if we look deeply, is there an inner and outer? Where does inner and outer?
it looks when I go into the bed, you know, and I just put the cover over my head and be with myself only, and that what is coming there, except and not going out, you know, and meeting so-called others. But I know where you're pointing to.
Yeah, I know that, you know. It's just here, you know.
And at the moment, I have the feeling that, yeah, my stomach, my solar plexus is kind of in all that. I can see it's constricting and kind of
Beautiful
not
to notice, beautiful to notice, and just to recognize that movement of constriction. Nobody's doing it. We're just exploring sensation, and something in the tissue, somewhere energetically, it tightens up. Amazing, yeah? It's not right, it's not wrong, it's not good, it's not bad. Just somewhere, somehow, relational to sensation, something sparks.
Maybe I could also say resistance to it.
With what?
Resistance. It's a feeling of
Yeah, yeah.
resistance.
Something automatically, unconsciously resists.
And then also maybe not trusting he once also said to me, I learned, like many, trust to the mistrust.
Mhm.
And I spoke with Frankie about it, and he said, you can't even trust yourself. What you did, it's like, okay. So there's also a lot of naive wanting to
Yeah.
trust.
Yeah, all of that stuff, all just, you could say, unconscious movements that have troubled man, womankind forever that have not been explored. So we just, yeah, we're watching what comes up. Not more, not less. The sensations of this moment, there's the interpretations of this moment. Then there's all the compensations and the trying to fix and change and all that. And nobody's
But
doing
never
anything.
really worked so much. And there's also a feeling I want to get out of here, it's like it's becoming too crazy. I want to get out. How can come out of this? And then I also don't want this spiritual bypassing, it's like, what is it? What's going on? Now is a kind of change in my stomach, something changing.
Mhm.
Comes more wider.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's really good we scratch that.
Mm.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you
Sarah.
so much. Love you. Mm.
friend of mine told me that he'd read in the newspaper that this local dentist had been busted for selling pot. And it really shocked him because he'd been visiting for 2 years and he didn't realize that he was a dentist.
Isaac, I'm sorry, I didn't understand the first part of it. The dentist was
He
punished,
read in the
or
newspaper that a local dentist had been
Yeah.
busted for selling pot,
what is it, busted?
arrested,
Oh, okay,
arrested
I get it.
for,
Thanks.
for selling, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't use the word busted in Germany? Oh,
I don't know it. Don't know it.
okay, yeah. I guess American slang, yeah. Busted. Busted, you're busted, buddy.
Maybe something like verknackt worden,
Yeah,
arrested.
something like that. Well, sounds like it. Yeah. I'd never heard verknackt before either. Esther.
Hi, Isaac.
Ah, Lucas.
Hi.
Hey, Lucas.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ava, for hosting. Thank you all for showing up late at night for most of you. Have a beautiful sleep. Love, peace, beauty. Ciao for now.